What was the dumbest thing you ever did to try and impress a girl or guy? My senior year of HS, I told one of my best friends, who was also the sweet, beautiful, very in shape, football playing boy, to throw the football as high as he possibly could and I would catch it, you know, to impress him and make him realize I was the girl of his dreams. He threw it high. I did not catch it. I did fracture my pointer finger when it bounced off my hands. Had to wear a friggin' finger cast to school for a few weeks and go to physical therapy for my finger. He felt terrible. I felt like an idiot. He did buy me "I'm sorry" flowers though, so that was nice. People at school thought my finger brace was hilarious, since I was constantly walking around giving a number one hand gesture due to the brace. Everyone at school started giving me the number one gesture when I walked by them. Good times. This past year I threw a fairly large college house party just so the guy I liked could attend. I didn't want to show him too much favoritism, so I tried to run around and talk to everyone as I was the main host. Luckily my best friend kept him company and acted as my faithful wingwoman. The night ended with me and my crush talking outside, getting closer and closer, until he asked me if I threw the party for him. Even being drunk didn't soften the blow of straight awkwardness. I tried to laugh it off and deflect, but I'm a terrible actor, lol. Looking back, it was kind of obvious the entire party was an excuse to see him, and I now understand why I liked reading The Great Gatsby so much in high school. Guys are idiots. There is no way he figured it out on his own. There is a traitor in your story. On a similar post, a guy commented that in elementary school he liked a girl with glasses and didn't want her to feel like an outcast, so he would come home from school every day and stare right into a light bulb to try to damage his eyes and need glasses. What? And I can't stress this enough, the frick. Signed up for a French class in high school because the girl I like was in one. Turns out she was into me too, but my dumbass signed up for French 1 when she was already in it, and the following year she was in French 2 and I was sitting all alone in French 1 in a class I didn't care about. Au moins tu pukes parler français. I lied and said I had experience in journalism because I didn't think we'd have anything except a brief encounter, when I'd actually only taken one class in college. Our first date he took me with to report on a local clash between police and citizens, and I got tear gassed and robbed. This takes the cake and the wallet. Getting up from the bleachers to play dodgeball, I tried to pull my sweatpants off while yelling "let's do this." Ended up yanking off everything, boxes and all. Bold. In elementary school, when I walked by this girl I liked, I would pretend to chew gum and crack my knuckles cause I thought I'd look cool. Jesus. I bet this kid could carry so many folding chairs at once. I was the first high schooler she knew who got my license. I drove us to hang out with friends of hers, mostly guy friends. I guess she was trying to date one of them. I know that humiliation. Had a similar scenario driving friends around, and one of my friends ended up fingering my crush in the backseat while I drove around. Wrecked. Dating a gymnast in high school. We go to a park and I see parallel bars that are designed for stretching, but I'm convinced I can do a handstand on them because I'm awesome. She keeps insisting they are too far apart, but I don't listen. Attempt said handstand. They were indeed too far apart, so I collapsed down, jamming my chest past my hands and tear all the ligaments holding my chest muscles to my breastbone. Good times were not had later or for a long while after. The funniest part is that this was her area of expertise and you still decided you knew better. D. I tried to jump through a swing. The plan was to go headfirst through, do a somersault on the other side, and look super cool. I smoked my face on the wooden seat. You're in good company. There are a lot of stories here about trying to quit smoking. Most didn't do the violent method you chose, though. I intentionally threw multiple games of Uno to let a girl think she was amazing at the game. I memorized the complete poetical works of Robert Frost. I once pretended I was drunker than I actually was and proceeded to read poetry to someone for about an hour in order to put off having to directly decline to frick him. My ploy worked and I sent him on his way. He later told me that I'm weird when I'm drunk. This is not particularly relevant to your comment. Took my friend to the driving range and she asked if her insanely hot friend could come as well. Said friend mentioned she's never hit a golf ball before, so I'm thinking jackpot, I've got a way into talking to this girl and an excuse to ask her back out one-on-one if that goes well. Get to the range, hit a couple of warm-up shots while she's getting her clubs rented and she takes the spot next to me. Decide really crush this ball to impress her and give the swing everything I've got. Missed the ball and clipped the ground and broke the club right off the pole. It proceeds to bounce back and smack me in the face and give me a solid shiner all while she's watching. Did a backflip from a tree about 5 feet up. Landed it, but the ground was slippery, and I used my hands to catch me falling backwards, and broke my wrist. 10th grade me, you were a freaking moron. I mean, landing it at all is still pretty badass though. If you put a strike anywhere match into a straw and blowed it onto the sidewalk, it makes a pop and lights where it hits, so I fired them all around my crush's feet. It scared her and my plan failed lol. Dang it, where am I gonna get a strike anywhere match this time of night? Oh, finally, I can tell this story. My sister was driving me back to college after Thanksgiving break, and there was this cool girl who drove a yellow Jeep Wrangler who I had some classes with. On the road getting closer to the school, I saw a yellow Jeep coming up next to us in the left lane. Of course, I thought it had to be her. I was in the passenger seat and decided it would be a great idea to open the sunroof, stick my head out, and say hello. Mind you, we're going about 60 miles per hour and I wear glasses. I opened the sunroof, stuck my head out, turned to face the upcoming car, and my glasses flew off my face. I am practically blind without them. I yelled at my sister to pull over, and we spent the next 30 minutes wandering around the side of the highway, blind, to try and find my frames. They got pretty smashed up, but luckily the lenses weren't too scratched. I was able to get some duct tape and a pair of sunglasses at a gas station and rig up the monstrosities I wore on my face for the rest of that semester. No cash for new ones. To this day I still don't know if it was her driving that Jeep. Got a tattoo to impress a girl in my psych class. It did nothing and now I have a piece of crap piece by a guy named Philly Steve on my leg forever. Call me if you see this, Ashley. Jesus, I literally can't imagine thinking I'll get a crappy drawing to wear for the rest of my life. This surely could never backfire. Not really dumb, but kinda funny to look back on now. I wasn't good at sports, but I was fairly quick, so I joined the track team to impress a girl. Turns out the girl wasn't impressed by runners, but I did end up going to state in the 100-meter dash and placing second. Told some girl I liked in 7th grade that a kid pushed me down the bleachers to elicit sympathy. The kicker is that she was there when it would have happened. She did not believe me, LMAO. Also the same girl I asked out while knowing she had a boyfriend. I was a dumbass 12-year-old. Drove from Virginia to New York to pick her up from an airport in NY, which was about an hour from where she went to school, but it worked so that was okay. Learned how to rap Crack a Bottle by Eminem. When I showed him I could, he only knew the clean version and I knew the actual dirty version. Sat through a marathon of the first 4 Twilight movies. Got into a downhill snowball fight while skiing at 30 miles per hour. Hit some ice and shattered my tibia. Misread that as labia and was very concerned for a moment. Take up smoking in high school. Didn't get the guy and it took 15 years for me to quit smoking. Haven't been a smoker for almost 7 years now. Quitting smoking was one of the hardest things I have done. I feel this is my soul. I started smoking to impress this girl and 10 years later I still smoke. Hands down one of the dumbest thing I've done to impress anyone. Learned all the words to Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back. Nothing wrong with that. We should all try to impress women with large butts. After all, fat-bottomed girls make the rockin' world go round. Ran into a busy road and picked up a hedgehog. Wasn't run over, but my hand stung for a week. I'm imagining a scene in which your love interest glides silently past you as the popular kid at school arrives and puts their hand around their shoulder. They walk away laughing about some hilarious joke they share whilst you stand silently holding a hedgehog with stinging hands. It then starts to rain. I won a Fear Factor contest at a local festival completely randomly. She dared me to sign up and I did it on a whim. When I was 15, I dropped a heavy book on my head. It was this old dictionary, a single volume that was easily 8 inches thick and probably weighed 15 pounds. I laid down on the floor, held it over my head with my arms fully extended, and dropped it a foot and a half right onto my forehead. I guess either it would show how tough I was not tough. It sorta worked because I dated her until freshman year of college, but that was likely in spite of my actions and not because of them. This is the crap I wanna read on this thread. On that day Raymond learned the true definition of love. I wore her super small hoodie a whole school day that also had a really strong perfume smell. Even got genuinely pee at my friend when he jokingly tried to take it from me. Can you please explain the events that led to this? Tried to backflip from a 5-meter diving board. There was no flipping involved, just me falling on my back into a pool from 5 meters high. Crap, didn't feel good. Don't know which one was more bruised, my back or my ego. As a platform diver I think you actually have to try harder to not flip than flip. Kudos. Well, when I first got with my now husband, I wanted a change so I dyed my hair jet black. I'm very white. I don't freaking know why, but I used the box dye on my eyebrows too. I looked like a freaking freak and I thought it was so cute and he'd love it. What the frick is wrong with me? I'm also a very white girl and I'm pretty sure when we're young we all make this mistake at least once. I was alone in a park in front of my house. I was standing by the monkey bars just fooling around. I was around 10 at the time. I see a group of around 5 girls cycling towards me, all about 16 years old. Thinking I can impress them, I jump on the monkey bar, still looking at them to show off. Turns out, completely missed the bars. Fell from a 6-featuring wooden playground flat on the face. Teeth trough my lip, crying and everything. They ran over, asked me where I lived and carried me home. They were really sweet about it but it was pretty embarrassing for me. Dude took 5 older ladies home. Legend. I tried to do a front flip off a trampoline and land on the ground on my feet, but ended up doing 1.5 front flips and landing on my face. He mentioned he liked this little independently owned pizza place across town. We were in college and I didn't have a car, so I took a bus across town to pick up this pizza and bring it to our informal club meeting. Took like an hour round trip on the bus with a giant 18 inches pizza, and it was definitely cold by the time I got there. Offered him some and he turned it down. I later learned that he was a super picky eater and didn't like any of the toppings I got. One of my friends helped me eat the pizza. I must have impressed him some other way, though, since we've now been together for almost 6 years. Sat next to a girl I really liked in high school calc. She would get upset because I'd get A's on tests and she kept getting C's. She cared a lot about grades so I tried to be comforting, saying it's a hard class, I have a lot of lucky guesses, etc. She was having none of it, so I decided to get a C on purpose on the next test. We got them back and I was all excited to show her, but she got hers back and she failed, like below 50% failed. She wasn't impressed with my C and neither were my parents. Embarrassing to admit, but the only time I truly tried to impress a girl was in primary school when I was about 10 or 11. I would swear when she was near and always gave the impression I didn't give a frick. Backfired though. She just ended up thinking I had anger and behavioral issues. Stabbed my leg with a kitchen knife. We are gonna need some more info on this. My sophomore year of HS, I asked a girl out on Valentine's Day by having red, pink and white carnations delivered to her homeroom. I walked by her homeroom, and my buddy gave me the negative head shake. Already disappointed, she came out and told me she had a boyfriend and asked me if understood. She kept on repeating "do you understand" repeatedly. In retrospect, I probably had the deer in headlights look on my face. The worst part was that I was pretty confident about her saying yes and had told all my friends about it. The train ride home that afternoon was pure heck as my friends razzed me non-stop for the entire ride. In my defense, she had invited me to her birthday party a few weeks before and her boyfriend wasn't there and he wasn't brought up at all. So, yeah, to say I was gun shy after that would be a major understatement. I was abroad in Dominican Republic. They had a dance competition on a stage. Anyone could enter and it had around 200 people watching. I was about 9-10ish and spotted a cute girl who must have been around 14-15. So obviously I decided the best way to get her attention was to get up on stage and dance my heart out. Cue 3 minutes of awkward shuffling, while maintaining constant eye contact with that girl, and horrified queasy looks from my parents. The coordinator cut me off early by pretending the speaker stopped working. I got a pity clap. Tried to raise a scooter down the steepest hill around. Crashed into the back of a funeral hearse and shattered the back window. There was a body inside and the family was outside waiting to either go to the cemetery or take the coffin inside. I got up, covered in blood and glass, grabbed my scooter and hobbled away to the nearest alleyway. Oh no. I tried to do a backflip. I've never actually done a backflip before, not even on a trampoline. I actually would up just jumping backwards and hitting my head hella hard on the ground, and then I woke up and threw up a bunch. If she ever had a thing for me, which all my friends said she did, it was gone that day. I was about 9 and I was super into Pokemon. Thought the boy I liked was into it too. I tried to impress him by constantly spouting Pokemon facts at him. Turns out he wasn't into it at all and he thought I had autism. I actually got one. I was 14, totally fully in love with this girl from my class. Got to add, we kinda flirted for a whole year but got nowhere. She was the kind of girl who likes attention, so you can imagine how she kept me hooked up knowing I had no chance. Since it was getting close to Valentine's Day, I decided I was going to impress her and make her mine by learning how to play guitar and all her favorite songs. A whole week practicing like a madman and actually learned 2 songs I knew she loved. So fully prepared and convinced I'd hit jackpot. On the 14th I go to her house, call her out telling her I had a surprise. She pops her head out of the door, sees me and my guitar and nopes the frick out of there, telling me to leave. Hey, at least I now know how to play a guitar. I weirdly love these stories where they don't get the girl but get a sick skill. Got my nipple pierced. Started smoking. Wanted to look cool and have an excuse to talk to her. It worked but we only dated for a couple of months. Biggest mistake of my life. Now you just gotta find another girl to quit smoking for. Ended up watching 13 Reasons Why because she said it was like the best show ever. PS. It wasn't. My girlfriend at the time and I were both film majors, and we saw an episode come on one day so we just sat around crap talking it. Fast forward 5 hours and we're almost done with the first season. You have been visited by the wisdom pupper type. Study well pupper or you will fail your next text at school. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.